Imagine packing up your life, leaving the noisy city behind for a quiet, secluded cabin nestled deep in the mountains. For the Miller family, it was a dream come true, a fresh start. But they soon discovered that in the heart of this ancient forest, some things don't stay quiet. Their dream was about to turn into a chilling nightmare, where the very woods around them would learn to speak with their voices. This is the story of the Millers. John, a writer seeking inspiration. His wife, Sarah, a painter, captivated by nature's beauty, and their curious 7-year-old daughter, Lily. Their new home was a rustic log cabin, miles from the nearest town, surrounded by a dense, whispering forest. The first few days were the air was crisp, the silence was a soothing balm, and the towering trees felt like ancient guardians watching over them. They explored, they laughed, and they felt a sense of peace they hadn't known in years. The first strange occurrence happened on their third evening. Lily was playing hide-and-seek with her father just as dusk began to settle. She hid behind a large oak tree, giggling. John counted to 20 and called out, "Ready or not? Here I come, Lilybug." He started searching. A moment later, he heard a faint giggle from deeper in the woods. He smiled, thinking she was trying to trick him. Then he heard it again, a perfect echo of Lily's laugh. But it came from the opposite direction. A slight shiver ran down his spine. He called her name. Lily. From behind the oak tree, she popped out. "You found me." He asked if she'd been running around, and she shook her head, confused. He dismissed it as an odd echo, a trick of the mountain acoustics. He didn't want to frighten his family over nothing. The next day, Sarah was on the porch, painting the breathtaking sunset. She hummed a little tune to herself, a lullaby she often sang to Lily. As the last sliver of sun disappeared behind the peaks, she heard it. The same lullaby hummed back to her from the edge of the forest. It wasn't just an echo. It was melodic, almost conversational. It was her tune, note for note. She stopped humming, and the woods fell silent. Her heart pounded in her chest. She called out, "John." "Is that you?" Only the chirping of crickets answered. When she told John later that night, he tried to reassure her, suggesting it was probably a strange bird mimicking her tune. But even as he said it, he remembered the echoed giggle from the day before. An unsettling feeling began to creep into their perfect mountain retreat. The phenomenon grew more frequent and more specific. One afternoon, John was chopping firewood, muttering to himself in frustration after a swing missed its mark. "Come on, you stubborn piece of wood," he grumbled. A few seconds later, a voice, undeniably his own, drifted back from the trees. "Come on, you stubborn piece of wood." It was clear, not distorted like an echo. It was a perfect, chilling replication. John froze, axe in hand, and stared into the dark woods. He felt a primal fear, the kind that tells you you're being watched by something unseen. He shouted, "Who's there?" His own voice shouted back from the trees, "Who's there?" "Tin anotter, deeper in the woods," repeated the question. Then another, and another, until it felt like a chorus of his own voice was surrounding him, closing in. He dropped the axe and ran back to the cabin, locking the door behind him. That night, no one slept. The family huddled together in the living room, listening. The forest was no longer silent. It had found its voice. Their voices, they heard whispers of conversations they'd had earlier in the day. Sarah's gentle reminder to Lily to wash her hands. John's frustrated sigh over his manuscript. Lily's excited shout when she saw a deer. It was a macabre playback of their lives, distorted and pieced together. The scariest part was when they heard phrases they hadn't said. A whisper in Sarah's voice, "I want to stay here forever." A low growl in John's, "Get out." Lily started crying, pointing to the window. "Mommy, the trees are talking like us." John, now genuinely terrified, tried to rationalize it. Could it be a prank? Local kids with recording equipment. But the remoteness of the cabin made that highly unlikely. The voices seemed to come from all around, from the very rustle of the leaves. Desperate for answers, he spent the next day searching the internet on his spotty satellite connection. He found local legends, old forum posts from hikers and hunters. Ti spoke of the mocking woods or echo grove, a place where the forest was said to steal the voices of those who trespassed. The stories varied, but they all shared a common, terrifying theme. The woods listen, they learn, and then they speak. One legend claimed it was the spirits of those lost in the forest, forever mimicking the living to lure others in. The family had to get out. They decided to leave the next morning. They packed in a frenzy, the forest outside continuing its terrifying mimicry. It seemed to know their plan. They heard Sarah's voice whisper, "You can't leave." They heard John's voice, strained with panic, repeating, "We have to go, we have to go." The most horrifying moment came when they heard Lily's voice, sweet and innocent, call out from the darkness, "Daddy, don't leave me." John's blood ran cold. I ran to Lilia's room and found her sleeping, safe in her bed. The thing in the woods was now using their love for each other against them. As dawn broke, they threw their bags into the car. The engine turning over was the most beautiful sound they had ever heard. As they sped down the winding dirt road, they didn't look back. But the forest had one last, parting gift. For the first mile, they could hear a cacophony of their own voices chasing them, whispers and laughter, all blending into a horrifying chorus that finally faded as they reached the main road. They never spoke of what happened in that cabin, not in detail. How could they explain it? They moved back to the city, trading the terrifying silence of the mountains for the comforting noise of civilization. John never found his inspiration, and Sarah stopped painting landscapes. Sometimes, in the dead of night, they think they can hear a faint whisper on the wind, a familiar voice carried from a dark, lonely forest far away. The cabin in the mountains remains empty, waiting and listening for new voices to learn. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think was in those woods? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more unsettling tales. Stay safe out there, and until next time, keep your eyes open.